What the hell? She's just standing there. What? She's not moving. She's standing in front of a GPMG and she's not moving. What is going on? This guy just blew up in front of her and she's not even moving. What's up, you guys? Gongrongzong here. So just a couple of days ago, the long-awaited changes to the enemy AI have been implemented in the live game. I don't exactly know what the actual numbers are, how much of their HP and damage has been decreased, but to be frank, it seemed that the enemy NPCs are now just a tad bit too easy. There were a lot of nice things that came along with these nerfs, don't get me wrong, like the warhounds that no longer one-shot you, those things were an absolute nightmare, or the hyena one-handed SMG wielders, those aren't long-range sniper gods any longer, and purple mobs aren't awkwardly spongy. But yeah, I think overall the NPCs could use a slight buff. Again, this is just my own opinion, coming from my playstyle and the build I'm currently using. I'll be very interested to hear from you guys how you're faring with the new AI now. But I think the core problem was much more of the enemy AI than their actual sponginess, which was a problem, yes, but I think their outright aggressiveness was more the issue here. Right now, I'm experiencing odd moments where even a big hammer dude starts retreating away from me. What's up with that? Where previously, they would never do this no matter how low their HP. I'm not exactly sure why, probably to do with the devs tweaking the AI algorithm so that they no longer feel like they can take us head on. Previously, the devs explained that the AI was so aggressive because they were matching up their health and damage values up to ours, and so they felt like they could rush us straight off the bat. I also felt like the firefights were significantly less, where mobs would, weirdly enough, just run around helter-skelter instead of fighting. Check out this purple LMG gunner. Runs around from left to right to left to right. Barely even sets up his own gun. And this happened to me quite a few times for the mobs. This resulted in quite a few fights being, well, not being firefights at all, due to them not even taking a position to begin with to start shooting back. There was also these really weird cases of the AI just standing completely still in the middle of combat. I'm very interested to know if you guys have experienced this yet. I have no clue what causes this, and I've experienced it a few times, and I've managed to catch a specific moment of this engineer just, well, she's just standing there. And I decided to leave her alive just to observe, like, whether it was a bug or what's up with that. And she literally just stands there the whole time, with a GPMG gun blasting into her. Before the recent patch, I'm 100% certain that the AI would react to something like this. I just hope that this is a bug and not a symptom of the AI performing in a less aggressive way, because such behavior completely negates the difficulty. Again, we'll have to see how this pairs up with the talent nerfs coming in, and how this new less aggressive AI would affect the raid, but it does now open the possibility of alternate builds, which is very good. Tank and skill builds are definitely a lot more viable now. They still lose out to gun builds in terms of raw efficiency, but there is space for them to be used at least, compared to them being completely unviable previously. What is very interesting though, is that Massive decided to do this completely out of the blue. These NPC nerfs were actually a public test server, a PTS thing, only scheduled for release later. Tinfoil hat on, did they do this because the player base was getting riled up? There were a lot of things to be upset about, namely all the nerfs to the talents. Perhaps this was their way of directly saying, don't panic, it's all part of an overall plan. It's all part of, alignment. But even then, if I may, I just wanted to draw your attention to one of the most upvoted posts on this subreddit, and in it was an overwhelmingly positive reaction to the difficulty of the mobs when the game launched. At almost 7k upvotes, titled "Please for the love of God do not nerf how difficult the game is." TLDR, you could practically even guess what the post was about. The post was basically saying that difficulty felt good. The level of difficulty was challenging, and the challenge was a very welcome thing. And of course, a lot of people, a large segment of the player base that was at least on Reddit, agreed with this post. I want to feel threatened. I want to feel relief when I find ammo and resources. And the comments that followed all overwhelmingly supported this notion. Yes, there were certain flaws with the AI. The enemies were a little bit too spongy, the AI was a little bit too aggressive, but I wanted to showcase this post to show the nearly 180 turnaround that the community has towards this issue. Yes, there were certain problems that needed to be fixed, but with these nerfs, did we lose more than just that? Like this post demonstrates, did we lose how decision making in combat feels way more consequential and tactile? Did we lose the aspect of how it's far more rewarding to be victorious over a worthy adversary than to cheese potato AI? In any case, this leads to an even larger issue that probably requires a video on its own. But it's pretty concerning in its own right. Is Massive making too many changes too quickly? Already we've seen a plethora of changes coming in a mere month from the game's release, which I'm pretty sure was encouraged by the numerous complaints about the endgame, such as skill builds being completely broken, or that taking on a gun build was the only viable way to do higher level endgame content. Which is a good thing, as it shows that they are actively listening to feedback and are quick to fix things. On the flip side though, it has led to even more complaints, legitimate or not, of players feeling frustrated because they feel like their efforts of grinding out a build were effectively wasted with the incoming nerfs. I can definitely sympathize with this, although I would also add that balance changes are something we should all be mentally prepared for in the early stages of a live developmental game like The Division 2. Can the crowd never be pleased?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Here is another Reddit post, significantly upvoted over the course of a week, and for good reason. It's really concerning to me how much this damn subreddit has degraded in just 2 days. Seriously guys, we have just received one of the best games I've played in years and a game I absolutely love, and all you people can do is rip the devs apart from a single patch. Literally one patch, and this is how you people act. This post was basically encapsulating the entire 180 shift of mood that occurred on Reddit towards the state of the game. It went from The Division is literally the best thing that's ever been released to The Division is a piece of shit and I want to uninstall the game. Yet another division that exists within The Division, basically between the players that are more patient and willing to wait out the roller coaster of balance changes, and the other that want their changes to occur quickly as it directly impacts their enjoyment of the endgame right now. In this day where it has become very difficult to trust AAA companies, I can see why many people inherently don't trust that developers have their best interests at heart, especially not when Massive is sending out mixed signals to the player base, such as promising to keep PvE and PvP separate, and yet deciding to implement better loot in the Dark Zone. While I don't have any definite answer to this, I will have this to say though. I am still very happy that Massive is keeping up the level of communication that it is keeping up. It is an outstanding level of communication. Whether I agree or disagree with their changes, this is something that we cannot overlook. Should Massive have listened to the wishy-washy masses? Yes and no. If I have any critique of them making changes based on feedback, I would say that they could have perhaps done it in smaller doses, rather than one quick sweep. For example, nerf the AI by 5% per week and see how it turns out week by week, rather than 20% at one shot. But regardless, the nerfs to the AI have already happened, and overall I think they're a great change. It allows more bandwidth for build diversity, and I wouldn't be surprised in seeing many more tanks and support skill builds emerge when the talent changes go live. However, as I already said, I do feel that the nerfs are a little bit too much, and I hope Massive gives our enemy NPCs a slight bump up. If you enjoyed this video, do consider subscribing for more Division 2 content. It really helps the channel out a lot. As always, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in DC.